They were everything I wasn't prepared for. 2 men. 2 cops. Partners in every way that mattered. I was just the rookie, trying to find my place in the force. I wasn't supposed to get close. I wasn't supposed to want them. But how do you stop wanting something that feels inevitable? It started with stolen glances, accidental touches, late-night patrols filled with conversations that ran too deep. And then, before I knew it, I was caught in something I couldn't escape. I told myself I had to choose, that I couldn't have them both. But love doesn't play by the rules. And neither did they. If someone had told me on my first day at the precinct that I'd end up in a complicated, undeniable, completely insane relationship with 2 detectives, I would have laughed in their face. But standing here now, looking at detectives Alex Carter and Adam Torres, I wasn't laughing. Alex was tall, broad-shouldered, built like the kind of guy who never loses a fight. His black hair was always neatly trimmed. His green eyes sharp, calculated, impossible to read. The kind of man who commanded attention without even trying. Adam was the opposite in all the ways that mattered, lean but toned, with wavy brown hair and hazel eyes that could be playful one moment and dangerous the next. He had a reputation for pushing the limits, both on the job and in life. But he always got away with it because, somehow, he made breaking the rules look effortless. They had been partners for 5 years. They knew each other too well. And that was what made things dangerous. Because from the moment I walked into that precinct, they both started looking at me in ways that I couldn't ignore. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Adam was a flirt. Alex was just intense by nature. But then the moments started stacking up. Adam's casual touches lasted a second too long. Alex's eyes lingered in ways they shouldn't have. At first, I convinced myself it was admiration, respect, but the way my pulse spiked whenever Alex stood too close behind me, or the way my breath hitched when Adam flashed me that slow, knowing smirk, I knew it was something else. I just didn't know what to do with it. One night, after a particularly rough shift, the 3 of us were stuck on paperwork duty. The bullpen was nearly empty, the overhead lights humming softly as we worked in silence. Adam stretched his arms behind his head, his shirt riding up just enough to reveal a sliver of toned abs. He caught me looking. Like what you see, rookie, he teased, a smirk playing on his lips. I rolled my eyes, but my stomach twisted. He was joking. He was always joking. But Alex wasn't. He had been watching me, too. Quiet, intense, calculated. When I glanced at him, he didn't look away. He just held my gaze, like he was waiting for something, a sign, a crack in my defense, a moment of weakness. I looked away first, but the damage was done. Later that night, as I walked to my car in the parking lot, I heard footsteps behind me. Alex, he didn't say anything at first, just leaned against the hood of my car, arms crossed, watching me. His presence alone was enough to make my heart pound. Adam's an idiot, sometimes, he said eventually, but he wasn't wrong. I frowned. About what? Alex exhaled, shaking his head. You tell me. My mouth went dry. The air between us was thick, too thick, and that's when I felt it. Another presence. Adam, leaning against the next car over, arms folded, watching us with that same damn smirk. You two look good together. Adam mused. Alex shot him a glare. But Adam just shrugged. What? I'm just saying what we're all thinking. I swallowed. And what exactly is that? Adam stepped forward, closing the space between us. His hazel eyes locked onto mine. Teasing, daring. Alex didn't stop him. I didn't move, because deep down, I wanted to know where this would go. And for the first time, I wasn't sure I wanted to stop it. I should have walked away. I should have laughed it off, shoved Adam's teasing aside like I always did, and gotten in my car like nothing had happened. But I didn't, because in that moment, with Alex watching me like he was waiting for my next move, and Adam standing too damn close, his smirk daring me to play along, I wasn't sure I wanted to walk away. Adam was the first to break the silence. You scared, rookie? I scoffed, forcing my shoulders to relax. Of what? Adam's smirk widened. Of whatever this is. He waved a hand between us, then exhaled sharply. Adam, cut it out. Adam chuckled, shaking his head. Oh, come on. You feel it, don't you? His hazel eyes flicked to Alex. Tell me I'm wrong. Alex didn't answer, which meant Adam wasn't wrong. I swallowed hard. This was dangerous territory. I wasn't stupid. I knew what this looked like, what it felt like. I'd spent months convincing myself that whatever tension I felt between us was just admiration, just respect, just the bond that came with working in close quarters. But standing here now, with Alex's green eyes fixed on mine and Adam's warm breath ghosting over my skin, I couldn't lie to myself anymore. I felt it, and maybe they did, too. The drive home was a blur. My hands gripped to the wheel too tight, my mind racing in a way that had nothing to do with the shift we had just pulled. By the time I made it to my apartment, I was exhausted, but sleep didn't come easy. Because for the first time since joining the force, I wasn't just thinking about surviving the next day. I was thinking about them. What the hell was I supposed to do with this? The next day at the precinct, things were different. Adam was still Adam, charming, playful, always testing limits, but now, whenever he teased me, there was something more behind it. And Alex was watching, like he was waiting to see what I would do, like he was waiting to see if I'd crack. I almost did, especially when Alex found me alone in the locker room, his voice dropping lower than usual. You overthink too much, he murmured, leaning against the row of lockers beside me. I didn't meet his gaze. And you don't think enough. Adam laughed, but there was something softer in it this time. I think more than you realize. I exhaled, running a hand over my face. Adam, you want him, don't you? The question hit me like a punch to the gut. I froze, because he didn't say us. He said him. I turned to look at Adam, expecting to see amusement in his expression. But I didn't. His hazel eyes were locked on mine. Readable for once. He was serious. Alex? I asked, my voice quieter than I intended. Adam's smirk returned, but it wasn't playful this time. You think I haven't noticed the way you look at him? My throat went dry. Don't lie to me, rookie. I swallowed hard. Adam knew, and for some reason, he didn't seem angry. If anything, he looked curious. Adam leaned in just a little closer. Thing is, I want him too. I forgot how to breathe. Adam tilted his head slightly. And if I'm not mistaken, he wants us, not just him, not just me, all three of us. I stared at Adam, trying to process what the hell he had just said. Alex, the most disciplined, controlled man I had ever met, wanted this too? Adam must have seen the disbelief on my face, because he smirked again and patted my chest before pushing off the lockers. Think about it, he murmured before walking away. I stood there for a long time, my heart pounding, because Adam wasn't wrong, and that scared me more than anything. I spent the rest of the day in a daze, Adam's words replaying in my head on an endless loop. Thing is, I want him too, and if I'm not mistaken, he wants us, not just him, not just me, all three of us. I didn't know what to do with that. For months, I had been trying to suppress the way I looked at Alex. The way my stomach twisted every time he stood too close. The way his deep, steady voice sent a shiver through me. And Adam was different. He was effortless, a flirt, the kind of guy who made you feel like you were the center of his attention one moment, only to pull away the next, leaving you wondering if you had imagined it. Now he was giving me permission to stop wondering. And the worst part? He was right, because when I really let myself think about it, when I let down the last of my defenses, I knew I wanted both of them. I was still lost in my thoughts when I walked into the precinct gym later that evening. I needed to clear my head, and there was nothing better for that than a heavy bag and a pair of gloves. I barely lasted 5 minutes before I wasn't alone anymore. Alex, he didn't say anything at first. He just stood there, arms crossed, watching me with that unreadable expression of his. Finally, he spoke. Adam got to you, didn't he? I exhaled sharply, pulling off my gloves. You always this cryptic, or is today special? Alex didn't react. You look like someone who just got hit with a lot of information. I scoffed. That obvious? He didn't answer. Instead, he took a step closer. Too close. Close enough that I could smell the faint traces of his aftershave. Feel the heat radiating from his skin. And for the first time, he didn't back away. Alex had spent months keeping his distance, keeping his walls up, but now his green eyes were locked onto mine with an intensity that made it impossible to breathe. He was testing me, seeing if I would flinch. I didn't. I held his gaze, my pulse hammering in my throat. Adam thinks you want this, I said, my voice quieter than I intended. Alex's jaw clenched. Adam talks too much. I swallowed. Is he wrong? Silence. His breathing had changed just slightly, just enough that I noticed. And then he reached for me. His fingers wrapped around my wrist. His grip firm. His touch searing. I sucked in a sharp breath. It wasn't just attraction. It wasn't just tension. It was something deeper. Something real. Alex's grip tightened. And for a second, I thought he was going to say something. But then Adam's voice cut through the air. You two going to keep eyeing each other? Or are we finally going to talk about this? Alex let go of me so fast it was like he had been burned. I turned to see Adam leaning against the doorway, arms crossed, that signature smirk playing on his lips. But his eyes weren't teasing. They were expectant, because he had been right all along. And now it was Alex who had to stop running. Alex stood frozen, his fingers flexed at his sides like he was debating whether to grab onto something or let go. Adam, on the other hand, was completely at ease, his smirk unwavering as he stepped further into the gym, like he had been waiting for this moment. Well, Adam prompted, his hazel eyes flicking between us. Are we finally going to stop pretending? Alex let out a sharp exhale, rubbing a hand over his face. Adam, it isn't. Adam cut him off, stepping closer. It isn't happening? Because I'd bet my badge that whatever just went down between you two says otherwise. I swallowed hard, my pulse hammering in my throat. Adam wasn't wrong. Alex and I had just crossed a line. And now, standing here with Adam watching us like he knew exactly where this was heading, I realized something else. I wanted to cross it again. Adam must have sensed it, because his smirk softened just slightly. You're thinking too much, rookie. Alex scoffed, shaking his head. That's his problem. He thinks. You, on the other hand, never think at all. Adam chuckled. And yet here we are. Alex stiffened, because Adam was right again. We wouldn't be here if this wasn't real. We wouldn't be standing in this too small space with the weight of unspoken words hanging between us if it didn't mean something. Adam let the silence stretch before he finally sighed. All right, I'll be the brave one. As usual. And then, before either of us could stop him, Adam grabbed the front of Alex's shirt and pulled him into a kiss. I forgot how to breathe. Because Alex didn't shove him away. He didn't growl or swear or pretend this wasn't happening. No, he grabbed Adam right back, his hands fisted in Adam's shirt, his body pressing into him like he had been waiting for this just as much. It was rough, almost angry, a battle for dominance neither of them was willing to lose. By the time they pulled apart, they were both breathless. Adam licked his lips. Yeah, thought so. Alex exhaled sharply, his green eyes dark and unreadable. Then he turned to me. I swallowed, because suddenly I was the one caught between them. Adam tilted his head. Well, rookie? Alex said nothing. He didn't have to. His gaze said everything. He wanted me. And now he wasn't running from it. My body moved before my brain caught up. I stepped forward, and Alex met me halfway. His hands grabbed my face, pulling me in before I could second guess it. His lips were hot, insistent, consuming. Nothing about it was careful. Because we weren't careful anymore. We weren't pretending anymore. By the time we broke apart, Adam was grinning like he had won a bet. Well damn, he whistled low. Took you long enough. I was still trying to remember how to breathe when Alex looked at Adam again. And then, before I could process it, Alex kissed him again. Slower this time, like he was learning the shape of him. Like he was accepting this. Accepting us. Adam hummed against his lips before pulling back, his smirk replaced with something softer. Guess we should talk about this now. Huh? Alex sighed. Yeah, probably. Adam glanced at me. What about you, rookie? I wiped a hand over my mouth, still tasting both of them on my lips. Then I grinned. I think I'm done pretending. 2. We didn't talk about it right away. After that night in the gym, when everything finally snapped into place, none of us knew what to say. So we didn't. Not immediately. Alex went back to being his usual intense, unreadable self, keeping his walls up just enough to make me question whether he regretted it. Adam acted like nothing had changed, except now his teasing carried a sharper edge, a knowing look in his hazel eyes every time he caught me and Alex staring at each other for too long. And me, I was caught in the middle, trying to make sense of what this meant, what we were now, if we were anything at all. A few days passed before it happened again. I had just finished my shift when I got a text from Adam, Jim. Now, I frowned, but my stomach flipped, because I already knew Alex would be there too. When I walked in, Adam was leaning against the lockers, arms crossed, his usual smirk in place. Alex stood beside him, his expression unreadable, but his green eyes locked onto mine the second I entered. Something passed between us, something charged. Adam noticed. Of course he did. So he said, pushing off the lockers, I figured it was about time we had a little chat. I swallowed. About. Adam scoffed. Don't play dumb, rookie. About us. Alex exhaled sharply, rubbing a hand over his face. Adam. Nope, not this time. Adam turned to face him. You want to pretend nothing happened? Fine. But I'm not going to sit here and act like the last few days haven't been different. Alex's jaw tightened. Adam let the silence stretch before he turned to me. And you. His voice softened, his teasing edge fading. Where's your head at? I exhaled, my chest tightening. I don't know. Alex finally spoke. Then maybe we should stop this before it gets any worse. Adam tensed beside him. That what you want? Alex's green eyes flicked to mine before he looked away. I don't know what I want. Adam scoffed. Alex's fists clenched. Say it. Adam pressed. You don't get to run from this. Not this time. Alex's breathing was uneven now, his shoulders tense. He looked at me again. This time longer, more conflicted, more vulnerable. Finally, he spoke. I don't want to lose this. Adam's smirk softened. Then don't. Silence. I swallowed, stepping forward. Alex, we don't have to figure everything out right now, but we do have to decide if we're doing this or not. Alex exhaled, his gaze flicking between us. Then, finally, I want this. Adam grinned. There we go. Alex sighed. This is insane. Adam chuckled. Yeah, but so are we. I laughed softly, because he wasn't wrong. Alex ran a hand through his hair, looking between us one more time before finally he let himself breathe. Okay, he murmured. Adam clapped his hands together. Great, now how about we stop talking and get back to the fun part? Alex groaned. You're impossible. Adam winked. And you love it. Alex didn't deny it, and neither did I, because the truth was we had already made our choice. We were in this together. It had been a month since that night in the gym. A month since we had stopped fighting whatever this was and finally let it happen. And somehow, against all odds, it worked. At first, I thought it would be awkward, that the tension between us would make things complicated, that Alex would second-guess everything and Adam would get bored of playing with fire. But I was wrong, because when the three of us were together, it felt right, like we had always been heading toward this. Alex, with his quiet intensity, his unwavering presence, the way he grounded us. Adam, With his effortless charm, his ability to make everything feel lighter, easier, even when the world around us was anything but, and me, the one caught between them, yet belonging to both. Keeping it quiet at work was the hard part. We weren't stupid. Being cops meant working in a world where not everyone understood. So we were careful. Adam kept up his usual teasing, so no one thought twice when he threw an arm around my shoulders or made some smart-ass comment about Alex being secretly soft. Alex stayed as professional as ever, keeping his emotions in check where people could see. But behind closed doors, that was different. One night, after a long shift, we ended up at Alex's apartment. It had become our place. Neutral territory where we could be us without the weight of the outside world pressing down on our shoulders. Adam was already sprawled on the couch, flipping through the channels like he owned the place. You ever going to buy a bigger TV, Alex? Or are we just going to keep pretending this isn't embarrassing? Alex rolled his eyes, dropping his gun holster on the table before grabbing a beer from the fridge. You don't live here, Adam. Adam smirked. Could have fooled me. I chuckled, tossing my jacket over the chair. You basically do. Adam winked. See? Rookie gets it. Alex sighed, rubbing a hand over his face. I regret everything. Adam grinned, and before Alex could react, he grabbed his wrist and yanked him down onto the couch beside him. I expected Alex to push him off, but instead, he let it happen. Adam turned to me. You just going to stand there? Are you joining? I shook my head, smiling as I sat beside them. Adam leaned into Alex, resting his head against his shoulder. Admit it, big guy, you're soft for us. Alex took a sip of his beer. Shut up, Adam. Adam smirked, and I laughed, because for the first time in a long time, this felt easy. No more second guessing, no more pretending, just us, and that was enough.